well. Overall, again, 17 points. Then the second half started and it went back to, same old Texans from the previous 3 weeks. It's, man, it's like you can't get the car started again. And it's like, damn, what's going on? And then we see some things that happen with CJ Stroud where he gives up back to back turnovers. It's like, whoa, never seen this before. Okay. Which I don't expect that to happen again. That's just too much of an anomaly when it comes to CJ, especially his mentality. He don't like giving up turnovers. So the offense in the second half, man. Look, I think it was just like anything bad that could happen was gonna happen in the second half, and they continued to give chances to the Buffalo Bills to win the game. Bills just didn't want to win it. It's basically what happened.
Stressins, I saw a stat. I think that the Texans are averaging 6 points in the second half. Feels like there's no rhythm in the third quarter. Those penalties always show up in the third. What do you think is the reason why this Houston Texan offense just can't get it going after halftime?
I mean, I don't really know like if there's a specific thing, if it's just random that it happens to happen then, or if it's, I mean, maybe it could be halftime adjustments from Bobby, him not making any and the opposing team making some. But I mean, as you alluded to, really a majority of it is just penalties, which I don't know why they all of a sudden start to happen in the third quarter and fourth quarter. I really don't know. I wish I had an answer for you, but it is definitely very frustrating. But if we get that sorted out, these games where we start off with a good first half, and if we come out in the third, early fourth, we can really put these games away. But I just say penalties, and I don't know why we commit them. It's just I really have no idea.
AD, this offense is stalling in the third, man. We saw this offensive line a clean first half, no penalties from anyone, and then it just seemed to kind of dwindle down in the third quarter, man. What seems to be the issue?
Bobby Slowick. Oh, no,
Hmm.
no, that's gonna piss people off. But honestly, I mean, Bobby has a hand in it because it. Watching the film last night is very predictable.
Mhm.
Especially in the end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, it was like that what's coming. You hit Stephon Diggs on a big play over across the middle, big first down. You moving the ball. What's the first play you run? Let's run a toss play outside to Dare Ogunbowale that gets a -2 yards, and then you get a penalty for whatever reason in the second half when you get those penalties, and now it's 2nd and 17 or something. Well, we know what's going next. It's a screenplay, wide receiver screen, or something like that. I mean, it's very predictable. Um, but we couldn't complete the drives. That was the biggest issue. We would get down, and it's tail of the season. We would get down inside the 40 or right around the 40-yard line of the opponent, and something funky would happen. The referees were I'm telling you, it was some phantom calls in that late third quarter, early fourth quarter. One on the defensive side, one on the offensive side. They called a holding on Shaq Mason when Shaq Mason basically pancaked the guy. And then they called a defensive holding on, I think it was Tim Settle. And I'm still trying to figure out where he held when the offensive line just turned and blocked them. So it's been like a ridiculous situation that happened in that game. But of course, the two CJ turnovers don't help because I think the interception, you were driving down the field, then
Hmm.
you throw the
Which
interception.
was a great play by that linebacker
Right,
too, though. By the way,
right. Yeah, you take
Mhm.
nothing away from him. He made a hell of a play. I don't put that on CJ because I see where he was going, but like you said, stressing the linebacker just made a hell of a play. But you were driving on that drive. Um, Defense made a key stop. You get the ball back, then CJ turns it over again and basically gives the Bills the 3 points to tie the game. So those are just a myriad of things that happen, but you gotta stop being predictable. You weren't predictable in the first half on offense, and then all of a sudden you revert back to your old ways in the second half, and you stall and you don't score but 6 points the whole no 3 point no 6 points the whole second half.
I want to add one thing. You made me realize. I mean, maybe part of it too is the D'Amico defensive-minded head coach kind of having that, just tamp it down in the second half. Kind of squat on the lead type thing. Maybe that's part of it. But I mean, you brought up the turnovers too. That's definitely a big part of it. But I know I've been kind of harping on this like defensive-minded top-down approach. I really do think that's a factor with D'Amico. He likes to just try and just, I don't know. He gets conservative, but yeah.
So what do you think about that, Harley? Like, Stress and said is maybe we don't have that killer instinct, and maybe D'Amico wants to win by 3 points, and he's fine with it. I always felt like you need to put your foot on the throat, kill them when you can. Don't let any type of momentum come back in this game. But it feels like our head coach is, willing to give us a heart attack, willing to have us stressing over here.
Yeah, I mean, it's we can imply that because he's a defensive minded coach. We can see it from the games so far too, as well. I mean, it seemed like they made it a point that hey, we're gonna have Joe Mixon, we're gonna have him run the football. Here's 31 carries for a buck 59. Do we know that per se? No, but it's tough, man. I, I'm always in the mindset just like you, Ruben, and I think all of us are. Man, keep scoring the damn ball. Like just get the damn ball in the end zone as many times as possible. Get in the damn red zone as many times as possible, and try to cash it in as many times as possible. And we're making it sound easier than easier said than done. Obviously we're not there playing. But I mean, come on, man. I do it in Madden all the time. Come on now. Come on, bro.
Sometimes I don't know who it
Hey,
was.
hey,
I don't know what chat it was, but in that chat they was putting the Madden plays. And I was like, "Is Bobby playing Madden on Saturday night before the game and coming
they
up with
got the
these
four
plays?"
verticals. Four verticals, baby.
Four verticals, the wide receiver screen, the zone. What is
Little
that?
Texas route.
Yeah,
But
man.
this is part of like being like a young team with young players and young
Mhm.
coaches, young OC. Like
So
I
we're
thought
smart.
fully last year, like I justified it, like that's fine. But like I was hoping this year, like y'all mentioned, like we would find a way to put games away and have that killer instinct, but it's yet to happen. So it's like very frustrating. Like again, we're dominating games throughout the game, and then we just play with our food. It's the same old story. So hopefully we'll evolve at some point this season.
Yeah, one player I want to highlight on offense, and he's had a big moment the past 2 weeks. Dare Gumbawale, 30 yards on the ground, 57 through the air, 7 targets through the air. Last week had the big go-ahead touchdown. This week had 2 big conversions on third down. Man, shout out to Darway just taking advantage of your opportunities. Before we go, I wanted to real quick ask Mr. Stressens about a head coach who was just fired from the New York Jets, Robert Saleh. It was a shock to everyone. And I'm just asking this question because it's a popular topic around us right now. If he wants to, should the Houston Texans entertain the idea of bringing him in here to help out with the staff?
Absolutely, and that graphic you had made up and posted was pretty sick too, of him in a Texans coaching uniform. But I mean, why not? I mean, he's familiar with the system. Him and D'Amico are familiar with each other. As long as it's not, an issue of conflict of interest, if he may come in and try to override people. But if he comes into a role and knows his role, I mean, why the hell not?
Hey, do you bringing in Salah?
Just give me my money. Absolutely, absolutely. I know it would be in a consultant type role, but this would be a pelt on his wall if he comes in as a consultant and helps lead the Texans to a Super Bowl.
Mm.
Um, absolutely makes it known that you weren't the problem in New York. That it was obviously Woody Johnson and Aaron Rodgers. Discount double check.
And Harley,
So
what do you think about that situation, man? The whole firing and then him going on the Pat McAfee show saying, "Oh, I had nothing involved with this," and then he went on the other Barstool, show, and they asked him, "Would you fire your head coach?" And he said yes. Like, what do you think about that whole ordeal?
It's messy, man. It's really messy.
It's very New
For
York.
some, yeah, man. I mean, typical New York media, typical New York sports team. Like it's just Yankees, Jets, anything in that realm. It's always some sort of controversy. It's always some sort of dysfunction that's going on. Yeah. Um, it's tough, man. I don't understand the Rodgers and Salah thing. I don't understand it. Everybody that's been following me for quite some time, I mean, 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I wanted Robert Salah to be the head coach of the Houston Texans. I wanted him here. I loved what he brought as a guy that not was just a hype man, but also his staff overall, was very similar to D'Amico Ryans. And obviously, they go all the way back. I mean, Robert Salah was on the coaching staff here when D'Amico Ryans was a player. Salah ended up going to Seattle when Seattle had themselves a pretty good defense over there. And then he goes on to Jacksonville, kind of with Gus Bradley and stuff, as when Gus Bradley was the coach over there. Obviously didn't work out, but defensively, the very next year after Salah left and went to the 49ers, the Jaguars had a really damn good defense. Salah's known for his defensive mind. I would bring him here however way possible. All right. Do what like the Eagles did last year. Well, no, last year, 2 years ago. 2 years ago,
Who
Vic
got Brian
Fangio.
Flores?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the best example. Brian Flores with the Steelers. I was thinking Vic Fangio when he went to the Eagles, right? That Super Bowl, when they were in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs, they brought in Vic Fangio. They just brought him in. Like, here you go. Here, why not? I loved it. I'm not saying that, I mean, we can wait till then. I have no problem being in a Super Bowl. But I would love to bring Robert Salah a lot sooner. I would love to bring him in here, bring him in the building. He knows everybody. He's confident. The people know him here. The building knows him. Unfortunately, he didn't get an interview, but still a little salty about that.
All good, man. D'Amico could bring them all in. Real quick before we go, Houston Stressins, let everyone know where they can find you and all your latest work.
Yeah, so it's at Texans Commenter on all social media except for Instagram. On there, it's Houston Stressins. I just recently launched my website, HoustonStressins.com. It's a work in progress. It's legit, but I'm adding features. One of my big goals is to I made a Discord on there today to where we can all interact on there. But I created profiles where y'all can all make profiles and serve as a link tree at the very least, where you can have all your socials. But I want it to be basically what I've done on social media, like kind of aggregate everything, but also do that on a website so it can benefit all of us. I know everyone works really hard. You can have all your stuff there, and it can be a one-stop shop where people can see you. So go ahead and check that out. I appreciate you guys, man. I've enjoyed this journey. I mean, I've made friends with you guys. Y'all are all awesome. And then even the people in the comments interacting online. I love the Texans community, man. So
yeah, it's fantastic, man. AD, where they can find you and all your fantastic work.
You can find me at the H-Town Rundown at the H-Town Rundown on Twitter or X. The H-Town Rundown podcast on Instagram, H-Town Rundown podcast on Facebook, and also you can find us on our website, the htownrundown.org.
Ooh, the handsome man Harley, where they can find.
Love that we're so confident we don't even talk about the Patriots game.
I just realized that too. That's crazy.
I love that we're just that confident.
It's just Drake May.
It's just Drake May coming in.
West doesn't even want to put up a a little slip because they don't know what to expect from Drake May.
Like just real quick, Jacoby Brissett's a bum. I think they found out he's a bum. He's washed. He's ass. I think they realize that. I don't think it's, we're going to start Drake May because we need to start Drake May. No, they're starting Drake May because they found out Jacoby Brissett's an absolute bum. And so Drake May, here you go, buddy. Your first game's against the Houston Texans. Last time Texans played a rookie quarterback, Caleb Williams, 13 points. Remember when I said that punter shanked the punt and they got a touchdown off that? Yeah, that was the only touchdown for him. Other than that, 6 points. Caleb Williams, very athletic. Not very athletic. Cannot escape sacks. Oh, Daniel Hunter, Will Anderson. Yeah, buddy, it's going to be a buffet table for y'all. If y'all don't eat in this game, I mean, I don't know what else to say.
We're gonna have
if y'all don't eat in this
we're gonna have some conversations if we don't see
It's
some
a stat pattern game.
AD's already starting those conversations. He just don't want to say anything yet. But I see him, AD. I see the hate.
Spoons, man.
It's got to be a
to get
6+
100.
sacks game for the D line at least,
It
man.
feels like it. It feels like it. It should
But
be something in that vicinity.
we won't have the 6 sacks, but we'll have like 20 pressures though. You know, we'll
Pressure
have a
rate's
lot
up.
of pressures. You know
Let's go for the
We
pressure.
need but we do need like turnovers. We haven't like been getting a lot of turnovers. We need interceptions, fumbles. I mean,
Oh, Dark Tooth is asking. Yes, the H Town Rundown. You can find me on YouTube as well. H Town Rundown.
And guys, you can find my stuff. Just type in 713 Houston Sportcast, pop right up. Thank you all for being a part of today's episode. We can't wait to be back next week as we break down what happened after the Patriots. Harley is acknowledging the tribal chief. Let us know what's going on.
No, real quick before we get off, hey, I know we have a lot of comments, and I know we have a lot of fans and a lot of people that are subbed on the channel that are from Florida. So hey, man, big blessings for the Floridians, the Texans fans that are in Florida. Actually, man, I know there's a nasty Cat 4, Cat 5 hurricane, 170 miles per hour winds. Be safe out there, man. I hope all of y'all are safe out there for real. Like that's nothing to play with. If you can get out, make sure you got out. You know, I know it's supposed to be landing sometime soon, if not right now. So, hey, man, shout out to all the Floridians that are Texans fans in Florida in general, of course. But, man, I wish y'all the best, man.
Wish you the best. I'm following this one guy. His name is Lieutenant Dan, and he has his boat, out there, and he's not leaving. So, everyone's documenting, him. But yeah, shout out to everyone. Hope y'all
in the hurricane.
Lieutenant Dan.
Well, he only has one leg, so
spring.
that's why they're calling him Lieutenant Dan. So, it's punishment fits the crime. But
Special
boys,